At the Track is powered by Marie's Custom Tees, Tumblers, and more, Baggett Racing and Automotive Services, B. Buckler Designs, and BsSmall Engine Repair. Now let's get into today's episode. So I'm Redline Gary, and I'm here with Mr. Cody. And Cody, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started, what series you run, so forth. A little background.
I got started at 5 years old racing quarter midgets, and then I ran quarter midgets till I was about 14 years old. And then when I turned 16, I got into a 305 sprint car on pavement, running with like the Buckeye Super Sprint series, just because my older sister raced sprint cars on pavement. So we had a car when she quit, and I took over, and then we ran that for, I'd say, 3 years, and then I got a ride with Bruce Redmond running a 410 sprint car on pavement, and did that for a while. And unfortunately, he passed away after 2 years of racing for him. And so I started driving for a guy, Steve Smith, that's still a sponsor of mine out of Michigan. Started running his pavement car, and we went up at Kalamazoo and was always fast. And he decided he wants to go dirt racing, so I decided to sell all my pavement stuff and go dirt racing as well. I went pavement or dirt racing for about 5 years, 305s the first year, and then I went directly to 410s. And then
and
just
make no joke about it, you've got a series of checkered flags.
Yeah, we've had success in the past, and we won the last race out this year. We built a pavement car for the must-see lights. It's something more I can do with being a family man now with 3 kids and focusing on that and stuff. And my stepson's racing a lot more than me. So we're trying to get him, rolling full speed and seeing where he can take it. I've had my fun and wasted a lot of money with my parents, so it's his turn now.
Well, yeah, in the must-see series, they have lights, and then they have the step up, right?
Yeah, they have the 410 National Series, and that was what I was racing before I switched to dirt. And then, I'd like to go back to that series, and maybe, one day, we will, once the kids get a little older and we can travel a little bit more and do that. But for right now, I'm just going to run the must-see, the lights deal, and race, 6, 7, 8 times a year. And then maybe I got something in the works for a super modified deal this year.
Ooh.
So I'll run a couple of super modified races, and then go have fun next winter in the go-karts again, going back to go-kart racing in the concrete.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the go-kart classes for adults are just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys swinging around a track at almost 100 mile an hour, 2 inches from the ground. I mean, talk about nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. It's probably the I wouldn't say scariest, but it's the most adrenaline. I mean, you can get hurt. You're not buckled in. You're not, it's close racing. Everyone's, nose to tail, and it's serious. It's a lot more serious than people think it is. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been, there's a video somewhere on the internet of me hanging literally in the catch fence with the go-kart, still in the go-kart. It's not, I've been hurt probably more in a go-kart than I have in a sprint car.
One question I know that doesn't get asked enough. Who's on your team, and who supports you with your racing?
My team's fortunately I got a lot of people that's behind me, and they've been behind me for a lot of years. My wife puts up with a lot of stuff, and my family, and then my mom and dad's been there since day one. And sponsors like, I got Brian's Automotive, Hillary's Beauty Salon, St. Pierce Chevrolet, the list goes on, Dunkin' Oil, all kinds of people, come together to make this work. And I, without them, it's not possible. It's, before you roll out the driveway, most of the times you're already losing money. So, them guys buying tires for me and helping with fuel and stuff like that really it goes a long ways. And I don't even think sometimes they realize how much it helps us.
Every little bit helps. I mean, it don't matter if
Oh, yeah.
somebody puts $10 up. I mean, that's $10 that you didn't have before.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
And a lot of times with sponsorships, it's product. It's not necessarily monetary things. And it's very important. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this series is because, sponsors don't get enough opportunity to be thanked.
Right.
It's one thing to have a logo on the hull or on the on the car, but it's another to get right out there and, give them the credit that they deserve so great, so
Yeah.
much. So with that, what makes racing special to you?
I think it's special because it's the only thing I've known. I mean, I played sports in high school and stuff like that, but I was in a race car at 5 years old. I was at the Knoxville Nationals at 2 weeks old. That's my grandpa raced and my dad raced, and all three of my two sisters and me, we all raced. It's Instead of going to a friend's house on Saturday night, we were always at a racetrack or going down to Georgia or Florida, or we were traveling everywhere every weekend. So that's it. That's all we've done. I mean, that's all we've had.
And the racetrack's like one big family.
Yeah, and that's a family within a family. When you go, like, as kids, I can remember, a couple of races, a couple of big wins here and there, but you remember a lot about hanging out with your buddies and stuff like that, and doing stuff at the racetrack, having water balloon fights and stuff, than you do really racing. So you can be so pissed off, at somebody, during the race, and then after, you guys hang out and talk at your trailers and stuff like that. It's weird, somebody could be your arch enemy, but if they break something, they need something, you're always there to hand something out to them and let them at least get on the racetrack. I mean, it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't competitive.
Because we already covered what 2022 could look like for you, because you were saying about the supermod and
Yeah.
getting back to go-karts possibly, and a lot of different action.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of different things going on for me this year. Hopefully, nothing set in stone until you're in the seat, but yeah, kind of getting back to my roots, of going back to pavement racing. The dirt racing was fun, don't get me wrong, and we had really good nights on that too. But it's being a family man. If you can't race 30, 40 times a year, then you're not, as a driver, you're behind. So me only racing like 20 times a year wasn't enough, and I felt like I was holding my team back. So I you know I want to be if I'm going to do it and I'm going to spend the money, I want to be at the top of my game and be competitive. So we kind of scaled back a little bit and went back pavement racing, to do a little less traveling and a lot of maintenance. So we had to, and I can't, the guys that helped me, I got Aaron Price. He helps me out tremendously. He's a firefighter, so he works 24 hours on, and then when I'm at work, he's at the shop when he's on his days off, and he does a lot of maintenance for me and cleans the trailers and gets the car ready if I can't make it there in the evening. So he does a lot, and his boys help me at the racetrack. One's in college and one's working full time, so they meet me at the track, and I don't really touch nothing. My dad does stagger, and they do everything else above and beyond. So without them, it takes a whole team, to make the car go around. So
Oh yeah,
they,
it's everything, because you as a driver are limited by what the car can do, but they're limited
right,
because if they set the car up and skills as a driver aren't there, it's a catch
right,
22.
yeah,
I mean, it really is you have to be a fine, well-oiled machine to
yeah,
win races. There's no doubt.
yeah. You definitely got to
And
be on the same.
yeah, so here's one for you. What is personally your favorite race to date that you've been involved with?
My favorite race uh, would probably be. I got one for dirt and one for pavement. I got the dirt one was definitely going and running or trying to run the King's Royal at Eldora. That was fun just because the atmosphere is, second to none. And probably the best on pavement would be my first 410 win up at Kalamazoo, Michigan for the King of Kalamazoo. That was pretty cool to do. I think we started ninth and took the lead with like 5 laps to go and ran away with it. But that was pretty cool. That was only my second race with Steve out of Michigan, so it was cool to find chemistry and speed that fast in his car and somebody else's car.
Nice.
It's hard to do as a driver, filling in for somebody or just joining a team. And there's other special ones that I could be forgetting. I ran 2 seasons of Silver Crown cars, and every race of those are special. It's where everybody came from, AJ Foyt and all the big names from open wheel, all the way up through. So to be a part of that series and the top notch in my opinion of open wheel racing. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that too for a little bit.
Oh yeah. So, what would you like to see more of in racing?
Um, Honestly, I'd like to see more tire rules as far as you know I think what's killing short track racing with the rising cost of tires is you got teams that can go out and buy 2 sets for one race, and they're always on stickers. I'd like to see like Columbus Motor Speedway used to do with one tire a night. One new tire a night, and that's all you got. It keeps the cost down, and it keeps everybody competitive. I don't care what anybody says. Four new tires is better than one, or two.
That's a
So,
fact.
so I mean, it's just it evens the playing field out a lot, and especially on dirt too. I feel like on dirt you have guys that really aren't financially probably shouldn't be out there, but they're having a time in their lives. But it would help them out a lot to see only put one right rear on instead of a right rear and a left rear. Or if the track takes rubber, you're burned through 2 rear sets and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, most definite. And I know like Shady Bull, for instance, they have the one tire rule,
Hmm.
and it does make for excellent competitive racing. But at the
Yeah.
same token, it's a lot more affordable for guys going for that track championship where you're in it 20, 23 races. I
Right.
mean, you got to factor in these tires are what, $180,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
So
Ours is $630 for a right rear. So it's yeah, you're looking at like, $850 for a set, the first race, to where, now every race I won't have to buy a whole set, but, if you're only limited to one, you're only spending $220 when you roll into the pit gate instead of, if somebody wants to spend $700, they can on new tires.
yeah, and see, you bring up an interesting point. You know, not to get too far away from the questions, but if we raised the entry for drivers to race at the asphalt tracks, for instance, because dirt is well paid, you
Right.
know, but the reason why they do that is because it costs a lot to get in.
Right.
So it might be a thing of, okay, if drivers want to see bigger pots, okay, well, hey, you got to come up off the pony a little bit,
Right.
on some races. That could help, to see a
Yep.
larger payout race every weekend. Because if you can go to the local track and race for a $2,000 or $3,000 pot, that's decent money.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But what motivates you to strap in to one of the must sees? Because I mean that's like a mini rocket right there.
Right. Uh, it's kind of going back to what I've always known. I don't. People come up to me and they say, "Oh, you're crazy," or "There's no way I would do that." Well, I think other sports are crazy. That you know, I would never do. But if you're raised around it, it's completely normal. I think the biggest motivation is seeing my, I got two little girls, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and when they're in the pits and they're, no matter how I do, if I finish last in every race, they would still think, I'm the best. But, to see them like this year in victory lane in the pictures was something really cool. So that's probably the biggest motivation, when I get in is just to, be their hero.
Oh yeah, there was a post on Instagram where it was father and son. The father had like a midget or a non-wing, and his
Hmm.
son was racing one of the like limiteds, and
Yep.
they both took the checkered that night. And I was like, man, right there, you could just poster that right on my wall for motivation, right? Because
Right.
both of them taking the checkered that night. I mean, you couldn't make it any better.
No,
I mean,
that'd
you're
be
going to Waffle House that night, guaranteed.
yeah. Yeah, that
For those that don't know about racing in Waffle House, it's a thing.
yeah.
It really is.
Yep. It's the only thing open most nights when you're heading home, man.
Yeah, and they're all over the place. So I mean, it's like, where else are you going to get food?
Yep.
So for those that want to go out and watch you race, um, where can they find you on social media and things?
Social media, you can go to Cody Gallogly Sports on Facebook, um, and that will have that shows all my season, my updates. My wife does all the online updates throughout the race night and stuff like that to keep everybody that can't come, um, keep them in the loop and keep everybody updated. So they're on Facebook, and then on the Must See website has our full schedule.
Yeah, and are you guys on Speed Hive by chance?
On what?
Like Speed Hive, the My Laps when you're at the
Uh,
track,
yeah,
so people can follow you?
they are on. Oh crap, I'm drawing a blank on that. My Race Pass.
Okay,
Yeah, they're on My Race Pass. They have all the races on there.
all right. Now, bonus question:
Yep.
do you have merchandise that people can buy?
Yeah, I do have. I have shirts. I don't have any new shirts of my new car. I do have shirts left over from my dirt car and the Silver Crown car. Um, that I'm practically just giving away. I gotta get new shirts made for the pavement car, but and that's a lot. That's a big thing that people don't see either. Is you have to order a certain amount of shirts. If you order 250 shirts, we're still paying. I sell my new shirts when I get them. I get them. I sell them for $15 a piece. I normally got like $12 in them. You
Yeah,
know, it's not really a big money maker, and most of the time I take that money and I give it to my wife, and then she goes spends it all on my kids at the concession stand. So it's not a big money maker unless you're on like a USAC national tour or Kyle Larson where you're selling thousands of shirts.
right.
Um, but it's
But it
cool to
means
see.
everything to a driver when somebody's buying that merch
Yeah,
because,
and you see them in the pits or in the bleachers. People come down to the car, and we try to stay. We try to, especially when we win, we try to stay. We're like the last ones to leave the pits, so we can have all the people come. Just like you said, when you were when you were at Columbus Road Speedway, you used to not be able to get in the pits until you're 16. So all the kids, I remember when my sister was racing there, you would have to wait till the last feature was over, and you go back in the pits and see all the cars, and sit in the cars, and so we still try to keep doing that, because I knew I looked forward to that as a kid.
oh yeah. But I mean, one of the neat things about Columbus, I mean, for those that don't know, it's no longer in existence, unfortunately. But they used to have Victory Lane, like just outside the gate to the pits.
Hmm.
So the cars would pull around, and then everybody from the grandstands could come down and be a part of Victory Lane for the driver. And I thought that was like the neatest thing,
Hmm.
because you got to share in that experience with the drivers. I wish that a lot of tracks would get back to that, because it's one thing to have it in the infield for efficiency, but I feel like you're losing that connection that Columbus had to make it magical.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what our sport needs more now than ever. Unfortunately, social media can be very good, and then I think in some aspects it's hurting racing, because instead of instead of going watching the All Stars at Atomic or something, if I'm busy, I can just log into my app and watch them on Flow.
Oh
So
yeah.
it takes away, but then it kind of keeps keeps the not so crazy fans. It keeps them intact with the racing still. So it's a catch-22, I think.
Well, yeah, I think it's all encompassing because in a way, the digital age, like there's so many series that I follow, especially on like Speed Hive and Flow Racing and what the other one, drawing a blank. I subscribe to them too. They go around and they film everything. They were doing Shady Bowl too. They did a race there for the VCTS, and man, it was amazing because there's so much that they cover.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be at every race, but these guys
Right.
seem to manage to bring in the content,
Yeah.
and I mean, like you said, like Flow Racing, I mean, when the Chili Bowl was going on, they had a drone going right over those things, and it
Yeah.
was like amazing coverage that you'd never see anywhere else. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I want to strap into a freaking midget and go to the Chili Bowl one time. That would be
Yeah.
so freaking cool.
It would be cool. We went. Me and my wife went out there a couple years ago, just to watch, and it's a bucket list thing. You have to go one time just to say you've been there and witness the atmosphere. It's like no other. It's like the Knoxville Nationals, but it's packed into a enclosed building. It's incredible how big that place really is and how many people are there. Yeah, they start at, I think it's like something crazy, like 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and they go all the mains all the way down to the A main Saturday night. It's unreal. It's a lot of racing.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming on and being a part of this. I know it's building season. I know like opening night's just a few weeks away, like you said, but
Yeah,
I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you having me.
So with that, I'm Redline Gary. Keep it on the track. What's up, race fans? Redline Gary coming at you here, and today's featured business is Hillary's Beauty Salon out of Canal, Winchester, Ohio. Please make sure to give them a visit on Facebook. You can also reach them at 614-834-3880. Wide variety of beauty needs. Just make sure that you can get a hold of them and book your appointment today. With that, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the little bell. Don't miss an episode of At the Track. We're coming out with all new drivers across the U.S. So until then, Redline Gary, keep it on the track.